welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. It is time here to gather to share some fellowship, some fun, some conversation, some discussions, and let's see what the universe may reveal for us today. Thank you. Thank you to all of you who have already tuned in, stopped by, said hi, and those who may continue to join us through this time. I want to appreciate you, particularly those of you who may have come to see my pattern. I do try to be consistent, and if not on time, a little bit early, but today I was a little bit late. For those who may have swung by earlier or noticed, I joined Paul Unslaved over on Proper Instruction Motivates People. Had an enjoyable time, I felt, sharing time on his panel, his stream. And then I received a phone call from a man I've been hoping to speak with for a while. And so today is just rolling with the rollin'. And I ended up starting a few minutes late, then scheduling it later, then starting it early, and here we are, maybe over-explaining it. Blessings and thank you to you, Rose, as well. You got such a light to you, the energy you bring in the conversations and such. Yes, today is a good day, and I hope there are good days being had by many of you. So the topic today, it's going to bring me to an opportunity. Let me start with, where I start. We're kind of continuing with some of the conversations inspired from yesterday's stream. And admittedly, after yesterday's stream, I felt I carried some guilt. I wasn't proud of myself after yesterday's stream, and I was a little disappointed, to be honest. There was people who were disappointed in me, and I don't like disappointing people. I don't like offending people. I really don't like upsetting people. I really enjoy, I would much rather just get along. That's the key. So, looking back, my disappointment in myself is that I've made the goal for myself to reduce the amount of negativity and the insults. And I insulted people I respect. I did it again. I insulted friends and people who I care about. I don't really like doing that, to be honest. So, again, that's where I was. Last night, I carried a little guilt, some reflections, some recommitments to improve. And today, earlier, talking with other characters, which reminds me, I forgot to check the settings on that. I'll do it later. I was speaking with other people about ideas and what to do, what can be changed. How do I improve what I'm offering here? Because I would like this to be, when people see there's a new stream from Jack, I'd love it to be, oh, hey, great, let me see what are the new inspirations? Where's the new encouragement? I've had a rough day. Let me see what's coming out from Jack Talcott today. That's what I'd love for the reputation to be. But praise God, I haven't quite achieved those levels myself yet. And hey, you know what? This is what I've realized too. Who Jack is. I'm an ordinary guy. I'm the average Joe. And yet, you know, I don't know. I'm an honest and I'm an open man. And so when I trip up, it's an example. And I kind of think that's actually, it is kind of my goal. I hope that the Jack Talcott story is, in the future, looking back, my hope is the Jack Talcott story is told as one of an example. It's kind of an inspiration. It's like, yeah, look, you can be this stupid and you can make all these stupid mistakes. You can still do all those things and still turn your life around and really achieve some amazing things. So I've achieved some things that I am proud of. I certainly am. I'm proud of the accomplishments and the achievements I've made. I'm proud of the self-sabotage in many different ways that I've been able to overcome. It's all by God's grace, sincerely. It's all God's story, and I'm just trying to figure out how the pieces fit together. How do all the variables of this realm and this history and who I was and who I am and who I might want to be, how do all those things fit together? Life can be complicated. That's something I've realized. I think we all recognize that. Hey, there you go. Right? Yeah. I hope it's not said like that. Never go full Jack. Although I've got so many friggin' stories, man. So many stories. So, like, I remember, and I don't remember the details. I just remember this. It's stuck around in my head. In high school, I was that kid where I was that Jack because I'd heard some of the other parents say it more than once, I think. I don't want you hanging out with Jack anymore. I think he's a bad influence on you. Bah, 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 bah. Yeah, I probably was. I used to be that Jack. And then in the military, I was in a running group where I'll get into that story another time. Welcome, Cage. How you doing, brother? Good to see
you. What's up, Jack? How you doing, bro?
I'm feeling blessed. The topic today, I would love actually to have conversations about this. How do you know who
Well,
is a
what? What's the
friend,
subject? What are we talking about here?
friends or enemies?
You're frozen, bro. You froze yourself.
Am I froze? I feel
Yeah.
I
Oh,
look
not. You're back now. You've melted, apparently.
so the topic is friends or enemies. How do you identify them? What's the selection method? How do you know? Are you there?
Looking, yeah, you look in their eyes. You give them a handshake. Real life. We're on the internet. For me, it depends. You have to have personal boundaries and shit. For me, I don't consider anybody a friend unless I've known them for over 10 years. In reality, okay. So people throw this love and hate and all these different words around way too easily, I think. And whatever your ideology, whatever your projection or structure of it is what you're gonna get. So if you want a real friend, then you gotta be one. And it's not just everybody's your fucking friend or your enemy. None of that. Like you gotta 10 years minimum.
Interesting. So it's time, not deeds. It's quantity over quality.
Not only that, no, it's about consistency, right? You need some
Okay.
consistency over time, and then you'll see people will reveal themselves. But there's people that live together and they don't know who they are. They don't really know who they are, and they live together. Never mind people on the internet or even just like a friend you call your friend in like life or whatever. Like you got to really know the fucking person and shit. Like if the fucking fire you're in the fire, are they gonna try pulling you out? Or are they gonna be scared to get burned?
Okay.
You know,
So So there's something I hear you with. A friend is someone you know, and you identify your ability to know over consistency, and consistency requires some time, some uh, frequency, some familiarity. So I can understand those things. Yes, I don't have any disagreements. The being able to know another, though,
But
that's where we can create all sorts of.
but yeah, but like it's not always like for you. It's like what serves me, like what are you offering type thing. And I think like a real friend is not looking for that. A real friend is trying to serve everybody and everything around them in your program and all that. And it's not about what they can get or what it doesn't matter. You're gonna do it either way, and that's what really I think separates the real from the whatever you want to call
Cage gnosis. You do have a gnosis about you, a knowing you offer. And it is unique to Cage, but it's not, is it? you know, this
it. Don't
experience,
shoot the fucking messenger. The
right?
messenger has nothing to do
I
with the
know.
actual. It's about the information. It's about everything is a thought form, right? It's about the form. Simple.
Yes. Well, and that's what I was saying. Not so much the messenger, but you do you bring your own little energy to the message. And you're interesting. I like a lot of the stuff you say. I just don't like how you interrupt me sometimes, or you got a habit of taking over. But whatever. Um, when you read the energy of the people, and when you talk crap to you, and I have nothing but hate, you get off the panel. You don't talk to them. People, friends or enemies. Friends, I agree. It's those who you know, those who are friendly towards your intentions, your desires, to your betterment, perhaps. Sometimes that can be opposed to your intentions and your desires. Your betterment can. But so then is that an enemy or is that a friend? And this is kind of where I was playing with something Lindsay said yesterday. She brought up a great point, If if a friend betrays you, you're more likely to be able to overlook, to forgive. But a stranger betrays you, they'll become an enemy, right? Are you there, Cage?
I'm listening. Yeah, I don't want to interrupt
All
you.
right. I know you're not, and I don't want you to be worried about that though either. So, feel you have thoughts on the where the hell was I?
Talcott's glitch. We got a Talcott glitch going on. Was it?
I'm
It's
just
lost in
actually,
translation.
yes, and you know what? It's not lost in translation. It's just losing myself in the moment. Because what moves us is what we're being pulled by. It's the idea, it's the desire, it's the impulse that pulls us. But when that impulse is gone, what do you do?
You do well. It's about having a structure, a proper foundation. You're gonna do what you do no matter what. So it doesn't matter whether
There
you're
you
not gonna
go.
be you're not gonna be on the pendulum swinging around like an idiot. You have to have a form, and you be in the middle. That's not affecting you now, like the push or the pull. You're gonna get pushed or pulled. Either way. It's like you push. Now all you got to do is pull in. You know, you pull
Okay.
in. All you got to do is push, and it changes. So
Yeah, I kind of remember where I was back at. Took me a moment there with the friends and enemies. And if that's where I was wondering your feedback on. Here, we've got another guest here.
Hello.
iPhi, welcome, brother. Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Good to be here. Thanks for the welcome. So I think today I was unsuccessful at making a friend.
Were you?
Yeah.
I stepped out. I don't remember if that. I don't think it was concluded by the time I stepped out.
Apparently, I need to work on my passive aggression and my neediness, and so
Yeah.
maybe if I can overcome those things, I can make some more friends.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
You don't gotta do anything. You gotta just be yourself and fucking, that's it. You don't gotta change anything. All you gotta do is you can grow with it.
I think you just missed the unslaved panel. That's what I'm referring to, Cage.
Yeah. I don't go and watch people's fucking panels. I'm on here or I'm not. Simple.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was referring to. Jack was in the room, so I think he knows what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
So I don't know about all that. I was sitting around twiddling my thumbs all day, fucking watching people's panels like an idiot. I'm here. Sure? I either participate or I'm not there. Simple.
All right.
If you want me here, you can. No one's holding a gun to you to force me to be on here.
No
if the people want to allow me on there and talk, then that's fine. But if not, I'm not there regardless.
Okay. Dude. All right. Hey, iPhi, you were
muted.
Jack, you're muted, man.
I can hear him.
Cage.
I can't. I don't know why. That's fucking weird. I'm gonna have to refresh.
Cage, I think you're in a different reality than me.
I think you've got too much anger in your headphones. That was Unslaved's problem.
Yes. Hey, welcome, Moose. Good to see you.
Oh, hey.
Cage is in a different reality. He's in.
Now Moose is freezing.
And now Moose is gone.
Yeah, Cage is in a different reality. Yeah.
And then he flips out of the Matrix.
We'll freeze you in real life, It's like Jack Frost. You ever heard of Jack Frost?
The snowman?
No. You just touch it and everything turns into ice.
Is there a channel that Moose is not the producer of, by the way? I'm starting to get this weird feeling like he produces all the channels or something.
I don't think he produces any of them.
Oh, okay.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
I used to.
I was joking.
I used to. I used to, have a following and stuff, but it's much like Prince. Like when Prince died, he's still Prince. He's still the rock star.
What were you saying about reality and Cage again? You want to try that again before?
Because your name is Caged Reality. You're stuck in a caged reality. It was a joke, Cage. Don't get the panties all twisted. I love you, brother.
It was funny, brother, because you froze right away.
I know, it was a sign from God.
Yeah,
Cage, you don't understand Moose's humor, so he will tell you that you get pegged by your wife, and that's a funny joke that you're supposed to laugh at.
Yeah, mirth is king, as they say, right? Mirth is king.
Jack, it was a joke, and many people did laugh at that when I said it. But iPhi over here, he took offense.
I have no sense of humor.
I apologize.
I'm not just asking.
I'll
I'm
never
bringing
do
it up
again.
It's funny for me. For me, this is all entertainment.
I don't know. I don't laugh at funny stuff, but
I just apologize to you, man. Well, like, what is it gonna take?
You don't have to apologize, dude. It wasn't that big a deal. You weren't the reason why I left, dude. You were just one of the straws on the camel's back that ended it. So it wasn't you, dude. Don't worry. It wasn't. You can't hurt my feelings, by the way. And so
I'm sorry. I'm not sure which incident you guys are referring to. Is this OTW? Was that directed?
No, this is. Oh yeah. Outliers. It was. Is that OTW? What are you talking about? I don't know what OTW means.
OTW News.
I'll tell you who OTW is. OTW News is like the MTV of this generation of YouTube streaming. He restreams everybody else's work, and he literally has no original thought in his brain, and it's terrible. Like nobody watches it. I used to watch it just because I felt bad for him. I used to promote him because I felt bad for him, but I can't stomach it anymore.
Oh, that reminds me, Jack. Can I restream? Is that all right?
Please feel free.
I always forget to ask.
Oh, thank you.
Should it freeze you before or after?
I'm gonna call this Jack and Friends. Does that sound like a good title?
Sure. I love
It's a
it.
great title. And Jack's going to be sending you guys the bill because I'm back to being his producer. So this
See, I
therapy
told you,
session is going
Moose
to be
produces all the
$60.
channels.
No, I'm
$60 for everybody who comes up
gonna
today.
bill you directly to your door, and I charge $333
Oh,
an hour.
Hey
So
Moose, do you
owe
want
me
to
a
come
bunch.
produce my channel too for me since you're producing all of them? I mean, just add one more to the list.
there you go.
Is it going to be Naked and Afraid in the woods?
Maybe. Who's asking?
Well, if I'm not going to watch it.
Potential
You know,
producer.
I can't produce.
That's my problem. Like everyone's out to get me. So
Okay. Well, hey, this is perfect. We'll swing this around to the topic. Finding friends or enemies. I was thinking about this earlier. And what Lindsay offered is true, right? With a friend, if a friend screws up and they betray us, typically if it's a strong enough friendship, it's easy to forgive. But with others it's not. So the difference between friends or enemies would be regarding the relationships, possibly forgiveness and worthiness.
I think friends don't mean to slight you, but enemies do. Like enemies are doing it on purpose, so it's a lot easier to forgive someone who accidentally steps on your toes. Like when I said that about iPhi, I thought it was a joke,
iPhi.
right? iPhi. What you
Your
know I get
internet's
that
fucking
wrong.
up, bro. You're cutting out.
No, it's
Hold on.
not. He sounds fine.
I forgive you, Moose. All is forgiven.
Thank you, and I'll never say it again.
I absolve you of all the slights you have pointed in my direction.
See, and that's what a friend would do, because a friend would forgive someone who had no intentions of making you mad.
That's the key.
You actually never made me mad, Moose. That's one of my ongoing jokes. Like when people say like I get like triggered and stuff like that, or I'm passive aggressive and needy and stuff like that, I just kind of play along with it for a little bit just to see if they're intelligent enough to,
Well, have you
hear what I'm
ever
actually saying.
examined looking into somebody's eye before? You can see a reflection like under
All I
your
see
eye.
is a white
Some
icon and a little gray man.
yeah, do that, and then then you can use that as like a gauge if you're gonna if a friend or not or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, look in their eye and look at the reflection.
But Jack just looks stoned, so what am I supposed to read from those eyes?
It's love, man. It's acceptance. It's delight. Well, not always delight, but
Groove is in the heart.
well, I hope my eyes grow into eyes of kindness, right?
Oh yeah, you're definitely a kind dude. So I don't think there's anyone has ever said you're a mean person. So I think
Oh,
most
no,
people
dude,
agree.
that's the hilarity of my situation. According to public records, I'm dangerous. I'm a threat to others.
But not in the mean way. Like you're not one of those angry, mean people that they're
He's
attacking.
not the Unabomber, bro. He's
No,
just
that's
a simple man who gets angry once in a while, just like the rest of us.
right. But this is the hilarity is if you look at me and, you allow me to be forgiven for a few stumbles, I'm genuinely a damn kind, genuine, honest person. But my reputation, right? The permanent record. It's
Yeah, Jack. Life in general, right? So you can be you be genuine, you be you, and pretty much you have to have boundaries, very strict boundaries, and a foundation. If people want to cross that boundary, then that's up to them. And just like you could be as nice as remember, it's always a dichotomy, right? You're all nice, and what else do you have? You also have that inner fucking shit, right? So I could be the best person ever to you, and it could also be the worst, right? So it's that. So you continue to do what you do either way. Life is going to throw shit at you constantly. That's in a way, but it's all about how you deal with it. You recognize that and you keep doing what you do regardless every single day, no matter what. And that's it. And then if people want to cross that boundary, then you take care of business. That's it.
and do what?
keep being you. Be genuine.
Okay, but see, this is just the thing. People create these boundaries and then they move the goal line, they move the rules. People lack consistency and honesty. And then they allege, well, you crossed the line with me, and then it's straight to punishment.
Well, again, we're not talking about vapid based fucking little reality surface level boundaries. We're talking something like, all right, you want to bring it physical? It's like this. Okay, you fuck around with the family or the friends or people like that. Okay, now we're going to deal with you. That's it. They can say whatever they want. That's one thing saying something. It's like you put the action now into it and you put an action into it. Now you're giving me an excuse to fucking deal with you. That's all I'm
I think
saying.
your consistency is actually showing the difference. You know what I mean? You come on every day, you show yourself, you show all your personalities and all of your feelings, emotions, and everything. And so I think by doing that, you win. You're winning every time. People can say whatever they want about you, but there's a true record.
That's the key. That's what I'm counting on, honestly. There's been a lot of people gambling against my reputation, gambling against my success.
Yeah, Fi, what are you eating, bro? You munching on something?
Oh, sorry, dude. Sorry.
Is that you?
Mute, man. I don't want to hear you fucking munching on that.
Yes, please. I didn't notice it, to be honest, but people notice different things.
Straight rug munching over there, but that's all right. See, I can't stop myself from making a bad joke. I'm sorry.
We got fucking Jack and the Munchkins out here.
It's okay. I forgive you, Moose.
We're all learning and growing. I'm telling you, one of the most valuable things I've been noticing the value of silence in my own, because most, like you said, there's a lot of tendencies to come out with these comments and ideas. Man, I put my foot in my mouth so many damn times. Thinking I'm funny and actually turning out being real offensive or just insensitive. So, and I'm not saying that's you, but I am saying that in my life, I've been noticing the lesson of self-restraint and of silence. That's really how we simplify our own lives.
So
Hey,
the person that said people could be difficult to work with, I would take that a step further and say most people are almost impossible to work with, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, take it back to grade school. Like, remember how many group
Well,
projects
look
you
at the
got
words.
part
Look at the
of?
words. Hold on. Look at the words we're using. It's impossible. I'm possible. It's I'm possible to work with work with yourself. Look in the mirror. Enough.
I know, but the teachers put you in a group of 4, right? They're like, okay, so you guys go home and do this project together. And you always got 3 people, 2 or 3 people that don't do anything, and one person just pulls for it because they need the grades, right? It just shows how like frustrating it can be to work with other people. Other people aren't
Well, it's
always on
not
your
that.
page.
Like, what? Why you again? Why are you trying to get something out of somebody else? If first of all, if I'm dealing with a project, it's irrelevant who's around me. It's getting taken care of regardless.
Well, it's supposed to be a
And
4-person project. That's a 25% commitment from each member of the group.
it doesn't have to work like that. If you're in the group, you are responsible for being in that projection. So you have to take care of it either way. And yeah, if people want to go and act like, oh, take credit for it and all that, they really have no credit. So it's about the learning experience and dealing with your own thing and advancing, leveling up. It doesn't matter if, oh, the other guy, yeah, I'm over here doing all the work and they're just coasting. Yeah, they coast until they fucking hit a rock and now they can't tread water. It's fine.
It's okay, but when you take it to something like the Titanic and someone say, "Hey, we're going to go straight to an iceberg," and everybody's not doing what they need to do, and they all sink and they all die, that's the kind of shit that ends up happening.
Well, it's unfortunate, but that's why you have to, at least let them know. If you're in a project with me, or if you're in a project with you, then let them know. Tell them that, and then let them decide what they want to do. That's it.
Do you work, Cage?
I'm working right now. I always work.
He's trimming buds right now.
I work 24/7, Talcott.
He's the hardest working man in show business.
That's right.
So I think I was going more with the angle that some people are impossible to work with, and so despite your, self-reflection and trying to figure out if there's something better you could have said or done, that was the point. Is that some people, there is no solution to, and so
Actually, I don't mean to disagree. I do agree to some extent, but I leave myself open for timing, right? I think anyone can accomplish pretty much anything given the right opportunity and the right timing. So that includes understanding.
As far as timing is concerned, with Moose's Titanic analogy, once you're at the bottom of the sea, it's kind of irrelevant. Like, if you want more time to reflect on what could have been said, or or maybe a better way to address the problem, blah blah blah. And I've been on a bunch of sinking ships before, and I know why they sank and all that stuff like that. And so, again, if there was a way to resolve the problem, it could have been done. And so I think some humans get stuck on the problem that they think that, oh, I just wasn't properly, listening to everyone in the group, or maybe it was my bad attitude, or blah 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 blah. And meanwhile, there are some people that are just impossible to work with. Like, not difficult, but like, no matter what you say or do, they will sink the boat regardless. And so, I think that's where a lot of, like a lot of people, that's where they go like postal and stuff like that, because most people think that you can compel people with like logic and reason and, civil discourse and being polite and kind, and they try every trick in the book, and then they forget that, humans have this free will. So it doesn't matter, if they're being unreasonable or, psychotic or.
Okay, so exceptions and challenges don't mean, I'm not sure what the point is.
It's kind of like our politicians, Jack. You get all of our politicians in the same room, and they can never push the needle towards the greater good. They always push it slowly towards evil every single time. They never fix things. They always make it worse.
That's the way it's been done. You're right. But here's where I think this is my goal, is to try to be a big part of this. We can bring forth different perspectives into the conversations being had between the left and the right, to let them know that there's voices that are being unheard. It's the people sleeping in the streets, the people who are, afraid for their livelihoods, afraid for their future. Why? Because we've got such piss poor leadership in these elected positions. We've got a nation that adults don't know a time without war, let alone the children. So I think it's time. I know there's a lot of belief that there are times where some people just cannot understand, right? And I get
Talcott, I love what you're saying, but think about the words you're using. Okay, you're saying elected. Oh, these people.
So what?
Elected.
Whatever. Elected, selected. We know it's
no, but the L leads electricity. Elected. L. And where does the L come from? It has to do with Saturn. It's Saturnian. These people are, you know what time it is with them. All the religions, all that. When you talk Jesus, you talk fucking Muhammad, you talk Moses, you talk fucking Buddha, all of it.
And there's the agent of chaos, completely deflecting the conversation back into looping things again, Cage.
We're talking about the L. We're talking about the
right. You interrupted me to repeat this L thing you've looped on before.
Well, that gives up the game.
Okay, so tie your insistence of the source of the word, tie that back to what I was saying. Okay.
Well, you're saying like the issue is having an election, having this L. Okay, if you want to change, you're never gonna get a change. It's like, what version do you want? You want the fucking, you want heads or tails? You want the fucking left or the right wing? It's always the same bullshit.
Do you see
Listen,
that you're confused?
get out of the fucking L. The L is not gonna help you.
Right. You've got all these not gonna, can't, all this negative thinking, all these limits. Cage, what is, I don't understand you
No,
sometimes.
it's limitless, man. But I'm saying it's
Your
this world
lack
that
of
they trap you into.
situational awareness, your lack of ability to participate in the actual conversation instead of just having the conversation inspire thoughts and whoop, got to come out of my mouth. Cage, I don't mean to be rude to you. See,
I think we need to get Cage a Neuralink, Jack, because then his brain will work, impossibly
Hopefully,
possible.
Yeah. Let's hook it up, then. There you go.
Also, I don't even think there is any struggle with the left and right anymore. It's just the left and the left. So that's why there's nothing changing.
Really?
Yeah.
It's more like right and the right.
No, dude.
Actually, they're both. It's all insanity. It's all puppetry. It's all pageantry, and it's all, they are focused. Everyone in government, Democrat, Republican, whatever their title, they're capitalists. They care about the economics, about the profits. Well, the current economic system is criminal. So for them to want to continue to support the criminal system, and yet we allow them to do so, I'm not finding the logic at any level of the decision making. Because these public servants, elected, selected, placed in a position where they go to work, making decisions that affect us. They are public servants who should not be. We could easily change the world just by changing our standards of what we are willing to accept and not accept.
Jack, I think we all got confused when we called them public servants, because I think what it means is the public are the servants of them. They have the best health care in the United States. They have the best pay. They go to work for like 3 months out of the year, and they're making enough money to pay for your house in a year. You know what I mean? I think something's wrong with this. That we need to make them our servants again.
And they're the only ones making profit off of cronyism. It's not capitalism, it's cronyism.
Well, let's not put the blame simply on the people in government when we've got executives making 350 times what their workers are making. This is absurd. It's insane.
How can free market corporations collude with a libertarian government that doesn't allow cronyism?
Well, every libertarian I've talked to is still fixed on the capitalist system of economics.
Right, the one that works. The one that doesn't work is the authoritarian socialist.
No, the one that works is the one we have not yet tried. So playing this shell game with naming it corporatism, capitalism, whatever the hell you want to call it, cronyism, I think was your newest one. Whatever we want
that's
to call
when
it.
the corporations collude with the government.
That's fascism. Yeah, fascism. When the corporate and state combine, there's tyranny.
Yep.
It's insanity that we are continuing to allow it to go unchecked. And actually, let me not say that, because I know there are many people working many different ways to check these systems and to try and bring order to what's going on. I'm suggesting, hey, there's another avenue we can approach. I'm inviting people to join. But as long as people think that this system is the way to do it, then, I found people who like me, but they love capitalism And so for me to succeed would mean that they were wrong. And so they'd rather see me fail than my moving towards my goals.
That's the beauty of socialism. Everyone fails except for the government.
So goes the capitalist narrative, certainly. And with the corruption, and as long as people stay ignorant and they want to allow authority to have all this power and use the militaries and all this, yeah, as long as the people are stupid enough to do that, they will continue to be oppressed.
I agree. Historical fact is a narrative that we can review and see which system works better.
iPhi, beautiful, beautiful. I'm glad you brought that up. History, historical record. That's what the world, the materialistic world, has us focused on. Focus on only that which you can see, only that which you can prove, and the only thing you can see and you can prove is the past. So while everyone's focused on the past, the future, a future of economic and political change and more prosperity and abundance being freely shared joyfully, that future is just sitting here being ignored. So, and this is scriptural as well, biblical. I mean, this is God's revealing. That's what the Old Testament was, then the New Testament, and then this is the time again.
What was everybody doing yesterday, Jack?
Which part? Here?
Everybody was watching the Super Bowl yesterday. Almost everybody.
Yeah.
And the only reason I bring that up is because you make a good point. Like, who cares about the future, right? Let's go watch some slap-ass football, and let's drink our beer, and let's root for people that we're not on their team, but we say, oh, our team's going to win. Our team won. Oh, your team sucks. And it's like all this superficial garbage.
It's tribalism.
Exactly.
It's not your team. It's an energy harvesting ritual.
And meanwhile,
I don't even know who the fuck was playing. I don't give a fuck.
And meanwhile,
if I'm playing the sport, then I'm not there. It's like watching a panel or something. It's fucking retarded.
And meanwhile, what was being passed in government?
I don't know.
I think it was some sort of like Ukraine funding bill or something. Oh, I don't know.
Yes, you're right. The purse strings have been opened. I mean, they're just shoveling fucking money. And the voice, one of the opposing voices against the ceasefire and against halting the invasion, whatever it is, oppression, genocide that's happening in Israel, the United States. United States, our representatives, I'm speaking as one who lives in the land and was a volunteered servant of it for a long time. Our representatives oppose peace.
I think they vetoed a ceasefire or something, didn't they?
Several times. They vetoed the discussions of ceasefire.
Personally, I'm shocked that the military-industrial complex would actually want war to continue. That blows my mind.
I appreciate it. Took me a moment there.
See, Moose, that's a joke. That's a funny joke.
I got it.
How many souls do we have to? How many souls is enough, right? We're gonna keep harvesting fucking souls, and it's fine.
It's
and
time.
People are gonna keep praising the money being sent to Ukraine, right? The money that doesn't even exist, that's being printed out of your grandchildren's and their grandchildren's, funds. And it's like one of those things that if you praise that shit, then you're also praising the military industrial complex. You're praising dead bodies on the ground. It's crazy.
It's real money. We just put it on a credit card. What harm could come from that?
Hey, this idea of that debt clock, the idea, this was spoken against by some of the early founders. It is criminal. We should never allow a generation to pass debt on to the next generation. That's criminal. And yet we're willingly participating in a system that profits from exactly that. Help it make sense?
if I was emperor in my country, not only would we not allow any sort of authoritarian government to, like centralize the economy or whatever, if they pulled that off somehow, I would make the rule be that all of the people in the government wouldn't get paid until the debt was repaid first. So that would solve the debt problem.
The fact we've got to realize, we've got nations that have been warring over the illusions of borders and the forming of governments, and then we got people fighting over these different religions. The one religion that everyone's been participating in is this evil system of currency, money, whatever you want to call it. It's a monopoly game.
Yep.
And it's criminal.
That's true, but you know what it really is, though? How it works is they give a lower, lesser version to all the masses in order to go in. It's pretty much, you can call it whatever you want, but you can call it egotism, really. It's self-preservation. And it's a great exploit to use on people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Fear.
I was reading an article yesterday, and they're talking about passing the generational debt down. Like people pass down their inheritance or whatever. Well, now they're talking about your children are going to be forced to pay for the debt that you leave behind. And there's a lot of baby boomers and people that are dying off now that are leaving tons and tons of debt. And so it's like, where does the enslavement end,
See, this is the key. Damn, you said a word at the end, Cage. I can't remember what you said.
Self-preservation.
Self-preservation. Thank you. That self-preservation, that natural instinct has been used against us, because self-preservation is what brings forth the fear. And it's through our fear that our uncertainty will make excuses for ourselves. We'll sell ourselves and our time to some ungrateful employer. It's the uncertainty and fear from our self-preservation. Welcome, Tommy.
Hey, Tommy.
As always, easy on the welcome, Tommy, before I've gotten into it.
True.
Thank you. Now, I'm not going to forget any of you in our nobody community of nothing in overall reality, but I will remember you all as I continue to dominate that nothingness. Iffy, good on you trying to establish some kind of relevance, as you did not show to a very simple change of internet address. You didn't have to go anywhere, drive anywhere. I just said, bring that stuff to me.
Hey, Tom, you're gonna ramble on, but
hey,
listen,
you are absolutely Canadian, irrelevant. You're here because he'll have you.
Do you have any thoughts on self-preservation, Tom, or no?
That's up to the individual. Self-preservation, dickhead. Now, once again, Cage,
I'm not talking
never
about
cut in on me, Cage.
You have to preserve.
Never cut in on me, Cage. You can't show up to my panel, much less cut in on me talking to Jack.
What do you mean I can't show up? Now you said that, I definitely show up. Next time you go live, I'll be there then. Now you said
right, Cage. I just said you can't.
Oh, yeah, I can.
I have to allow it, like Jack has to bring me up.
I'll freeze you and kick you off your own panel.
Why is he still talking?
What do you mean?
Don't know.
I know why, Jack. I'm
trying to work about it, Tom, but
I'm glad I
Jack.
Me.
Oh my God, Jack. The thing you and your father have in common right now is you're both crying about the same stuff I've always had to get you guys. I've tried to get you guys straight on. And because neither of you can be known for having a fellow associate correct you, and both of you need to be known as the savior of world and internet, you're both doing the same kind of backtracking, looping as we speak in real time.
Okay, is there any opportunity to correct that?
The only thing you have on top of him is you don't have a poll crying about me going on in your chat right now. And I don't know why he keeps
saying, this is how they work. It's self-preservation.
Oh my God! Did you hear me?
Me. The only difference is there wasn't a poll.
Right. Except when you come to my channel, if you come to my channel, it's not the me. but you sound like season 1 Unslaved, where no one's allowed to say me because we can't speak on our singular
You're
experience,
obsessed with it.
which
Go
isn't
outside,
ego.
man.
It
Stop
isn't
messing around and
ego.
go
It's
outside,
not
man.
selfishness when I have
What
to
do you
say
mean? Come
I was in a
outside.
motorcycle accident. Cage was not in the
Come
motorcycle
outside.
accident, but I guess I'm just being egotistical to say that was my pain and suffering. Cage, you're
Come
absolutely
outside.
irrelevant.
Oh, no wonder you had a motorcycle accident. You know, like obviously.
What does that
What do you
mean?
expect?
What
I
does
don't know,
that mean?
Go look in the mirror and figure it out. Fucking retard.
Okay, so my physical look in my face is why an SUV did not abide by the rules of the road, pulled out in front of me, and
That
wrecked
was a
me on
part.
my motorcycle. Tell me about that,
That's a
Cage.
projection of your reality. Obviously, maybe if
No,
you
that's a story of reality.
maybe if you
Tommy
listened,
has a
it wouldn't have
panel.
happened.
He runs a panel. You can take this fight over to his panel.
No,
This is Jack's realm.
Moose, you're not listening. None of you are listening. I just said he never can because I've seen him from panel to panel. I'll never entertain Cage. He's a joke.
Well, can we move on?
Can you? Can you shut him up, Jack?
I'm sorry,
like you do me when I'm trying to say I'm not a PDF and you shut me up?
You know what? Yes.
Took you long enough.
Well, please continue.
You're a product of your father, I know. Now, Moose, equally, came to your panel.
You kicked out the wrong
You could have
guy.
came last night too, Jack. Why didn't you? Were you scared?
What?
You could have came last night too. Why didn't you? Were you scared?
I didn't see the link.
Do you know what happened last night, guys? By accident? I was just there to talk about the shape of the planet and prove it. And
yeah, that's why I didn't join.
I accidentally wrecked Paul Enslaved so bad, and cite this. I became lightheaded and almost passed out because it was dawning on me just how stupid we proved he was. And shout to Flow State. Flow State was part of that.
All right, so you came on here to talk about the shape of the earth and complain about it.
No, Cage. You're not listening.
People.
I don't know why Jack brought you back. You're not going to add anything.
What do you mean? Why don't you kick out Tommy? Because, you know, you're kicking out the only friend you actually have in this fucking
Oh, that's a play to emotion, Jack.
No,
everyone knows you have no friends, Jack. Why would you let him try and play that card?
That's not true at all.
And why would Cage think he can say he's anybody's friend? Everybody hates you, Cage.
Deal with it.
And I'm not doing that ego.
I love you.
Psychopath. Everybody this. I'm saying I go everywhere and keep my mouth shut, and everybody says Cage fucking sucks.
I don't care.
Then why? Well, we know you don't care.
Thought to even actually.
So, are you saying if you don't care, that's my cue to stop talking about it? Because I said I don't care about anything you have to say.
I care about you, but I don't care about the bullshit.
No, now you're playing to emotion. Like, look at Cage Unslaved. He cares about all of us. You see what he's doing?
What's wrong with that?
Because it's a lie.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is, Cage. You're stupid.
No, it isn't.
You're an asshole.
Get off, Cage.
Okay, so Jack, you'll admit that you, like all of us, the first time you saw the commercial for a shake weight, you were like, they have to realize how ridiculous this shake weight looks, right? And how you use the shake weight. We all knew that when we saw the shake weight. It's why Flow State did his shake weight bit with that flat, plain look on his face, doing all the tricep, doing the jerk off motion. And Paul thinks he's got him, like replaying the shake weight clip. And this is how I became lightheaded. Like, wait, Paul thinks he caught a guy using a shake weight on panel where it's like, we all know the shake weight's ridiculous.
Tommy, are you capable of not talking about other people? Why don't we have a conversation? We're having a great conversation, and then you
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were in the same old loop of Jack said, what was it? Jack said that fascism, capitalism is fascism.
You had interrupted him in the beginning to get his opinion on our topic. What was the topic, Cage? Do you remember where we were
Self-preservation.
At? Self-preservation. Thank you very much.
Yes, and we covered that. Self-preservation, it is on the responsibility of the individual. Case closed.
Okay, well, Tom, how about this?
How about this?
Shut
you
your mouth
always
for a
loop
moment.
the same money bad.
self-preservation, you bring it to the self. Is it not a fact that you are safer when those around you are safer? Is that not a fact?
What? I'm safer when all the Nazis around me are safer?
And
No.
people around you
I'm
feel safe.
safer when all the African child armies of heroin addicts are safer
Oh,
around me? No.
okay. All
See,
right.
this is why Iffy didn't show
So
up. He knows
we're
I'm gonna
done. We're done,
rock.
Tom. Tom, anything else?
Jack,
Anything
get
important?
serious. Seriously, man. Come on,
Hey,
please.
hey, Tommy. Oh, never mind.
Thank you.
I think it would have been better to phrase it. People with similar ideals are safer around you than you're safer. Maybe that would have been a better approach.
Well, what I'm trying to get at, what I'd like people to realize, most of the crime, that much of the crime we have in our communities, it comes from other people who are, hurting, who are desperate, who are angry at their situation, people who are worse off than us. So if we actually had a more caring and nurturing environment to raise human beings, we wouldn't have as much care, and then, as much violence, and then people wouldn't be so afraid and want to be all armed up. And
There are bad actors too, though, so it's a mix.
there are bad actors because we currently have a system that breeds psychopathy. It rewards selfishness and it profits from trauma. That's the reason we have bad actors today, because the world is nuts.
So it's like trauma. So it's kind of like trauma-based mind control, right?
It is. Yep.
Do you think we can cure the mental illness?
Yep. Yes. What cures the mental illness? What is mental illness? Mental illness is, in this scenario where my focus is not the brain damage and stuff, but the belief in delusions. It's simple and logic and reasoning. When we don't love what is true, we can come up with all these lies, and we live in a world that profits from lies. So people believe in lies, and then they go through their lives telling themselves stories that really aren't true, but they're delusional. So what frees us from the delusions? The truth. What frees us from our confusion? The truth. And see, we have a world today that enables billionaires and enables the news media to
what's
profit
the
from
what's the
lies.
truth? What's the truth, Jack? Is that, again,
The
these are
truth is
words,
that
right?
which is real.
So it's about this. It's about understanding the algorithm or the geometry. Everything has like a structure or form, including our reality. And I think that's observing the the algorithm of reality and realizing how it's working and how you're inputting into it and getting an output. And then you can change it.
I was trying to talk about the truth with Lindsay the other day, but apparently I wasn't able to perceive her message. So I don't know if she wants to try again and explain it to me, but I felt like I made some progress with truth. What was I talking about? Sacred cows or something the other day? I can't remember.
Sacred cows came up.
And so you'll notice that everyone was angry at first, but then they slowly started agreeing that I was speaking truth. Even Toilet Bowl, who usually doesn't agree with many people, said that I was speaking truth. So I feel like I made some progress.
Yeah, it was interesting. There was some triggered reactions. There was a lot of reactions actually yesterday, but it was not simply you. There's a whole lot of factors coming together yesterday. And it kind of, well, I know I lost control of the peace I'd hoped for and didn't handle things as well as I could. But another part of this, though, iPhi, is
yes, sir.
Today with Paul. I agreed with both of you, and I tried to offer the intermediate response. That both of you had some truth. Paul does have some anger. He sees it but doesn't see it. And I think you do have, I'm not sure your intentions. I won't presume to jump to the conclusions he did, but you do have a way of, well, provoking.
By simply appearing on panel? Was that my sin?
Your intentions, you present. Actually, here, this is just my opinion, because we're discussing it, but without realizing it, you present a manipulative pattern with the questions, or with some of the ways you phrase it. And maybe that's not accurate, but
Do you feel like I was being passive aggressive and needy?
a little bit. Wanting to be right, needing to be right, a little bit of needing attention, perhaps.
Okay, so you agree that Paul was accurately
I
perceiving
don't know what you guys
our
are talking
exchange?
about, but I don't know what you guys are talking about. But nobody's perfect, right? We
No,
can
right.
improve.
He's
So
talking about the
as soon as you
panel we were
recognize,
on.
but hold on, the fact that you're asking about that, if you're needy and all that or whatever,
No, Cage.
that means you're
came up-
not, because you've identified it. Only
It
people that
came
don't
up
know.
earlier in conversation. Yes, you don't know what we're referring to. And sorry, not to leave you out of this, but this is from the interchange with over on Paul's channel earlier. Paul's stream.
Yeah, he was psychoanalyzing me because I reminded him that we had met once before, and so this was our second encounter. And I said the first time we met, even though he agreed with everything I was saying, he was angry at me the whole time about it. And so I was curious why he was so angry at me. And
He is angry.
and then he
That's what I
said,
was laughing at.
and then he said, it's because he was angry because I'm such a passive aggressive needy person. And so Jack just now agreed with him and said, that's true. You are a passive aggressive needy person. And so so he agrees with Paul that was the problem.
There's layers to it. Okay. Doesn't mean that's the totality, but I can see what he's saying, that perhaps that's an area for you to look.
Sure. Next time I visit a therapist, I'll see if that's maybe what's going on inside of my head.
Well, no, you just got to go in and ask yourself, what is my intention? What is truly?
Oh, that's easy. My intention was to engage Paul and hopefully a more calm.
iPhi, you talk about therapists. Have you ever been prescribed pills to take or something?
Nope.
Okay, good. Never ever allow them to fucking give you that shit.
No, I don't even buy the initial quackery of the dude sitting on the couch, scribbling notes while you're talking about your feelings and stuff. They don't actually help. They just listen and regurgitate the textbook stuff of like, oh well, maybe you have deeply psychological issues with your parents, or maybe you have insecurities. They just start randomly saying words.
Bro, I know psychologists. I know plenty of psychologists, and they're more. I've never been to one or anything, but I know people that like friends and that, and they went and became that, and they're more fucked up than any of their.
Oh yeah.
clients.
But they got to make a living, so they got to convince you that they're doing something productive with your hours long session. So, but anyways. So Jack, so again, the answer was my intention was since I perceived the room to be somewhat chill, it seemed like no one was yelling and screaming before I came in. I said, "Hi guys, what are y'all talking about?" And so apparently that was my passive aggression and my needing to be the center of attention and stuff like that. And so I said, "Oh, hey, Paul, you probably don't remember me because we only spoke one time before, and this was a pretty long time ago. It was, I don't know, maybe a month or two, I don't know." And he immediately agreed and said, "Yes, I don't know who you are. I don't remember who you are." And I said, "That's okay. What happened was you agreed with everything I was saying, but you were angry with me the whole time. And I was just curious, if you can explain why you were angry with me." And so that's where it went downhill really fast, because then I was being.
Why do you care? Why are you letting this fucking affect you, over analyzing nothing?
Because because I was going through my list of.
Who cares? You're here right now.
I'm answering your question.
I was just serving you or helping you or anyone.
Hey, let him answer.
All right.
Your question is, why do I care? So I was going through my list of panel verses that I'm currently subscribed to, and I was trying to clean out the ones that are complete garbage. And so, since I only gave Paul one chance to make a first impression with me, I said, okay, just like Jack, I came back to Jack and I said, we had a first impression, didn't go so good. Let's try it again. See, maybe you were just having a bad day, or I misunderstood you. And so I came back to Paul and said, hi, what are you guys talking about? And then I was going to see if I had anything to, add to the discussion or whatever. But he was too busy, once again, being so angry at me and then psychoanalyzing me. And this is the part that I love, Jack. So you will recall that he just said he does not remember me. He doesn't remember the first time we met. He said, I don't know who you are. I don't remember anything we talked about, blah, 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 blah. I've got thousands of people. I don't recognize you.
What about right now? What about right now? What are we doing now? What can we do to benefit us and have a conversation instead of wasting time talking about nonsense from someone says something on a panel? Like,
so we're using an example.
Are you all right in the head, bro?
We're using an example of where Jack was in the room, and he can vouch for this. That
it doesn't matter.
While
people
Paul
are not on the panel, we're here right now. We're talking.
Jack
about
was on the panel, and he's in here.
We're right now here.
Well, Cage,
oh my God!
Let him finish.
I might as well
so I found it interesting that while he was psychoanalyzing me and then telling me what a useless piece of shit I was, he said, I do remember every detail of our previous encounter. And I was like, oh, so now suddenly you remember who I am while you're insulting me, but you couldn't remember who I was when I just introduced myself politely and kindly and said hi. So I just thought that was interesting because that kind of, to me, revealed who has the mental illness in the room.
So again, the topic was your intentions, and you went to your memory.
Right. He said he first claimed he didn't remember who I was.
So what is your intentions?
My intentions was to say hi and then see what you guys were talking about and see if I had anything to add or, share my own perspective on.
I think your intention, you're a fucking waffle. You have a waffle intent.
And so he was too busy
Cage. God.
And he was too busy being angry and psychoanalyzing me and then suddenly remembering who I was, because now that he wants to insult me and tell me what a passive-aggressive, needy person I am, now he remembers who I am. And I was like, oh, okay, so what did I do in the first time we talked? And he couldn't remember, but he was too angry and busy to actually.
Okay. So why do you think you join panels? I mean, what is it attempting to accomplish? Is it just
diverse perspectives?
Attention?
Diverse perspectives.
Okay. So to learn.
Yep.
To listen.
Yep. Oh, I listen. I hear almost all the words being shared in these rooms, except when they talk over each other.
Yes, I agree. No, I appreciate that. Because the topic we were discussing was the interaction with Paul. So when I was there, I tried to offer to you that you both seemed to be right. You went on and continued the case to prove his anger. Okay, but when asked about your intentions, rather than show me why it wasn't a passive aggressive neediness that brought you there.
Nope.
All right.
Pretty much the same reason why I showed up in today's panel. Just conversation.
All right, but we're talking about emotional based mind control and trauma based mind control and tribalism and all this other stuff. Think about it though. If you don't have a proper structure, if you have a strong structure, do you think anything or anyone could tell you, psychoanalyze you or tell you about anything? The fact that you're worried about talking about it means it has an effect on you.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. We were just talking about mental health.
You're not worried about it, but you're talking about it. So okay.
I'm not worried about Paul's psychoanalysis.
Well, okay.
I'm sorry if I misled you into thinking I cared about his psychobabble, which I responded in comments.
I'm just saying, it's an exploit. It's easily exploited. You can fuck with people.
One of the things I like people to consider is that everything we hear is something to consider, right? For whatever reason, it was part of our purpose to discover, to learn, to see, to hear that which we do. So kind of the Bruce Lee thing, you absorb and receive that which develops you and helps you grow, and you let the rest go. But I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss things. Paul he's got his blind spots, don't get me wrong, and anger is part of it, but he is very insightful with seeing patterns that people don't see. Doesn't mean he's always right. Don't get me wrong either. He's been absolutely incorrect in some of his assumptions and conclusions, not just with me, but others. And I trust, the reason I'm kind of in this conversation, not to defend him, not to defend you, but there is a greater purpose for all of these things that are happening, for all of our joining together each day. We get to decide what we receive from each other. And then from what we receive from each other, that's where we determine what are we going to do from here. And bringing that in, how do you know a friend? How do you know an enemy? How do you know when someone's actions their intentions are pure, their desire is to help, but the way they did it was painful or hurtful? How do you know? Is that a friend or an enemy? What do you guys think?
Like I said when we started, I'm pretty sure I didn't make a friend in that room, so that's why to answer Cage's question, what I was worried about at that moment was cleaning out my subscription. So that's one less subscription I have to worry about. So.
I'm just here, Talcott. Either way, I'm here planting seeds every day, all day.
I know.
Hey, that's my prerogative.
Cage, thank you. That was actually something I was chuckling about on Paul's stream, because friends, I think genuinely you were there authentically, just to do as you said, to join in and be a part of, support the stream. Paul has big walls up and he eyes most people suspiciously, and I don't know if he considers very many people as actually friends. But
well, we had the beginning. Remember, Jack, when it was just you and I on here, we were talking about that before. And for me, like you said, big walls, meaning he has boundaries, meaning he's less susceptible to this mind control type shit that they put onto people. Why? Because you need to have a proper foundation, boundaries. And like I said, if I don't look in your eyes and see the reflection and know you for 10 years, I'm not calling you my friend. People throw this fucking friend and enemy and hate and love, these words like they're nothing. Like, no, for me, it's serious, okay? Like, if I'm calling you my friend, then I guarantee everything's taken care of. And I'll go without. I don't need anything. I'll fucking not eat for a week. And I'll make sure everybody else is fucking going to the buffet. Simple.
I guess what I learned from that exchange was it's interesting that people would assume that we were friends because we agree on so much stuff. And so sometimes just mental illness will cancel out the deal. So maybe it is important to have mental clarity. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. But Jeff has made a new friend. Yeah, he made a new friend with some mental health chick or something. It was almost an interesting panel, but unfortunately they didn't encourage conversation today. It was just more like an introduction. So we'll see if she has anything to contribute, but who knows? Maybe.
Hey, sorry, I drifted off in the chat. I noticed there was some
drama.
Someone mentioned the emojis were missing.
Oh,
And then I looked at my screen and they were gone. When I refreshed, I found it came back. There was something odd, but I don't know if that's even what they were discussing. The and I didn't mean to distract from where we were at, but the future, I see us living right now, all of us. It's happening offline, but it's happening in some dysfunctional way on the
oh
YouTube
yeah.
streams, these panels. I see a lot of people learning and growing about themselves. They're learning and growing into themselves, learning about others, learning about different things in the world. Because we do get a variety of different perspectives. But man, when we start learning how to understand each other, how to communicate, and really it's simple, it just requires the willingness, the intention to understand each other.
Like
When we,
Gage and Tommy.
I think if they intended to understand each other, they would. But if
I think
they,
they were a good portrayal of our government. That was what I was thinking the whole time they were talking.
I got you. The back and forth, no agreement, no
Some
resolve.
sort of yin yang, some opposing force. You're talking about like in the Kemetic or Hermetic principles, like the law of polarity type thing.
No, just more like making noises at each other, not so much language.
Well, I know
Right.
because no matter I've tried, like no matter what I say, it's always going to be noise unless you want to hear it. You know. So,
Hey, sorry. I looked over and I saw a couple of notes, but these ideas, totally different topic.
Sure.
Enlightenment. Enlightenment.
I'm your man. What do you want to know?
Well, I'd like to discuss it because I heard a couple of things today that I thought were just beautiful. Enlightenment is, as a definition, simply seeing the truth of that which is.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, and there's not so much, I've heard it said we are all enlightened beings. The path is to remove the parts that are not, that don't serve the enlightened part. And then today I heard there are no enlightened beings. There are only, there is only enlightened activity. And I thought that ties well with that other definition. Being able to
yeah, it's a great dichotomy paradox, spelling of the words and the language you use to, kind of curate and make reality through the subconscious programming. But yeah, think about it. Illuminate. Okay, to illuminate something, that means automatically you're in the dark. To turn a light on and put a spotlight on. Yeah, you're automatically in the dark if you want to talk about illumination.
all right. iPhi?
Yeah, you're at least in a darker place if you're illuminating. That's true.
That makes sense.
Yeah, light and truth are synonymous. So, if you find one, you're probably going to find the other. I agree.
Isn't that beautiful? Light and, I love that. Light and truth, they go together. You find one, you'll find the other. Why? Because the light is that which reveals. And in our consciousness, our awareness is the light of, our awareness is the light of our consciousness. And it's through that light that the truth may become known. So the light, and it's within and it's out, and it's all things, and yet it's no thing. And praise God.
As
Sincerely.
within, so without. As above, so below. As within, so without. Right? As they say.
All true.
It's all projection, and you have control over it once you realize,
Well, we do and we do not have control, but
No, but it's like in the Tao, right? What they say, it's a controlling without really like forcing it. You can control while not controlling. It's beyond the word. Now we're locked into this word spell magic, assimilation, fucking This is how the matrix runs through these words, right? Remember
Right.
that old saying, Jack?
So
Hold on, one last thing. Remember that old saying? Remember they say it's right under your nose. What's right under your nose, Jack?
Mouth.
Yeah.
And we're known by our words and deeds, so enlightened deeds usually will lead you to the enlightened being. So I agree, that's a good place to start looking.
Yes. One of the thoughts I was considering earlier, bringing the words into actions. How do I offer the words that illuminate the actions, the steps? And I was thinking about this do not do, the be not be, where we surrender our attachment to the outcomes, right? The results are in God's hands, but our efforts and the amount of energy and effort we put towards things, that's completely in our control. And so the balance I was trying to consider earlier is you want to believe whatever you're going to do, even if it from the small and mundane to the big goals, whatever you're going to do, see yourself achieving it, succeeding in it, and do what you're going to do with the purpose of achieving and succeeding, and put yourself completely into it as though it's important. But let go of the results, the hopes, the expectations.
Yeah, it's about for example, in any magical process or in any process of shaping or not shaping reality or living within reality, like dealing with it properly and being the observer. If it always blocks it. If you hold on to attachments, the outcome and all that,
Yeah. Or
some.
here, sorry, you got dropped there, but
You
not by
blipped out for a second.
So that along those lines, there was a reason this idea came to me, right? I mean, I am trying to achieve justice, and by achieving justice, I've got a chance of maintaining or recovering my shelter. I'm attempting to reunite with my family. I got a lot of goals that are in my heart pretty friggin' important to me. And then I've got people who say they're helping me, but they're really not. And I had an example of that the other day at the union meeting. This guy, George, who joined me graciously, I'm very grateful he was there, but he was a silent observer. Didn't really do much to help. And it's like in hindsight, he hasn't followed through or followed up with me. So from Saturday, it's only been a couple days, but no follow up to see, hey, Jack, did what we tried, did that work? Did it do anything? See, unlike what you were saying, Cage, he had no attachment to the outcome. He doesn't give a shit. All he cared about was that he looked good, that he was there, that he.
It's not about that. Like in a way,
helped.
you can care so much, Jack, that you have to let it go and allow the seed to be planted. You plant your seeds, you move along, and it doesn't mean you're not going to observe it and you don't care. The gardener cares, but it doesn't mean like if you go and poke at it, prod at it,
Cage,
it's not going to ever germinate.
It doesn't apply to the
form.
situation I offered, but
it doesn't. But I'm saying in
right.
general, in generalities, right?
Yeah. But so again, you deflect the conversation from where I was at into generalities that
I was listening though. So you're saying a person was not genuine, right?
What people do, they often they egoically, they get in their heads, they focus on the plan, right? So if I do this, then that means I tried.
They're probably using you. They'll go back to the trash, the cockroaches. Okay, so you can't get rid of them. You kill one of them, the fucking eggs are in the wall. So that's
So a couple
that's
of
not
things.
how you deal with them. You can deal with them in a different way.
A couple of things. One, virtue signaling is very popular in today's society. And two,
Mhm.
most of your audience has a very short attention span. So expecting people to remember or care longer than 30 minutes, 30 seconds is pretty much a miracle in these times. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. So layers and layers of stuff you got to get through to accomplish very simple tasks.
It's like an onion. Someone like an onion. You know what I mean?
So do you
No,
feel like
because you
people
totally
do you feel like
go
people
ahead.
don't follow up enough with your interactions, Jack? Was that
I
your main
believe
concern?
generally people who don't care about what is true, they don't follow up with their words. They say a lot of things. They don't really give a shit to make sure that what they say is true, so they don't follow through. So yeah, that's been one of my problems. For whatever reason, people they got no problem lying to me, and it's like,
But look, I could physically see it in your face and even in your body language, like emotion. You're getting worked up just thinking about it.
no,
That
I'm
means
getting
they're,
annoyed,
but now
Cade.
they're
I'm
winning.
getting annoyed by you again. Because every
You can
time I
blame me. That's
speak,
fine.
you fucking get a thought, you interrupt, you deflect the topic, and then we never come back to what I was even discussing. It just happened again.
I apologize. I'll shut up now. Sorry, Talcott.
See, this is what
I
I
have
realize.
patience. I have patience, all right?
Go practice your patience somewhere else.
So as I was saying, the short attention span is part of the problem because sometimes they only catch bits and pieces of what you're saying, and so they think they're responding to you because they heard a couple of words you said, and then they already had another thought going, and then they kind of go off on a tangent. And maybe they didn't mean to, but again, that's what I mean by short attention span. It's like you can tell who's really listening and who's not. And I understand the frustration. Like earlier, our friend Paul, who couldn't remember, ever meeting me before. So that's why I was like, that's okay. I don't expect you to remember me. I'll refresh your memory. And it really shouldn't even matter because even if he wants to talk to me as a new person, that's fine too. I'll take that as well. But he was unable to handle the situation, so I moved on. But virtue signaling, I think, is another problem. You're maybe I'm using the wrong term here, but you mentioned something about like in the moment. Sometimes you'll see people, pretend like they're responding or feel good about responding or getting some emotional response out of it, but they don't really let it sink in and absorb and keep that thought long enough to actually respond to it. Maybe you can elaborate more for me since I kind of lost you on that point.
What I was talking about is, and here, let me come back. I appreciate this. You're right. Attention spans have been conditioned to be short. That is a challenge I face, but it's not a responsibility I'm going to burden. I've realized try my best to articulate, to communicate, and I have. I've studied communication. I understand. I feel I have a very competent understanding of how our minds, our thoughts, our emotions, and all of this works together. It all comes down to a willingness. Are others willing to understand what could be complicated? And I understand how I don't really help sometimes. I can overcomplicate things myself. But to the point, the things I'm offering, the things I'm trying to explain, I and many others have invested a lot of money studying it, and I realize there's other people saying the same thing or similar things, right? So it gets drowned out, echoed out. Everyone's got an opinion and everyone's got a memory of something they've heard. This is what I'm living. I know for a fact how good it feels, right? To wake up every day, to feel good throughout the day, physically, mentally, spiritually, even though there's times where I'm truly challenged. People want to test me, seems. If people listened to what I was saying, had I learned these things earlier in my life, my trajectory would have been far different, right?
Oh yeah.
What I've been learning can help people's lives transform.
Yep, it's better learn late than never. So there's nothing wrong with that.
It is. Well, the challenge I've had, though, is due to my past reputation, due to the choices made by myself and others. My reputation is what it is. People, and we live in a world of distrust. People aren't really willing to trust someone, especially if there's reasons not to. And holy cows, man, the reputation I've got.
Speaking of mental illness that's rampant in our society today, I think you'll notice many people are straight up just paranoid, like 24/7. Like even people they're kind of familiar with or kind of friendly with, they immediately start suspecting them of like ulterior motives or talking behind their back and so on and so forth. Kind of like Paul, like he probably thought I joined the panel to like attack him and like dogpile on him or something.
Here, pause for me just for a moment.
Okay,
We've got a new guest. I just want to double check. Lisa, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. You're a friend, I'm assuming, right? You have no ill intentions?
No.
Right.
No.
Blessings. Thank you and welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have you been tuned in for a little bit or just jumping in?
Just jumping in and listening.
Okay.
It sounds really interesting.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, welcome and blessings. We're we're having interesting conversations. If you're new to this, holy cows, where do you start?
From the beginning.
Was there something on your mind, or did you want to continue the current topic?
I think I got the feeling she's good with just allowing us to continue.
Oh, okay. So go ahead and continue then, Jack. I'm still listening.
We've got Cage here in the back as well, and I enjoy Cage, but Cage, I mean, what do I do? I'll tell you what, Cage, welcome back, please. Right?
Please.
Where were we?
Uh,
Friends, enemies, working together, communication. That's where I was at. Communication.
Yep.
I know for a fact the things I have learned, if people would understand the benefit of a meditative mind, right? If people truly understood the benefits that a practice of exercise and prayer, meditation, there's so much peace that can be found. Now, here's the other part, though. There's a lot of people teaching health, that have a lot more experience and a lot more credibility, even maybe, for teaching health and meditation and stuff like that. My heart truly is just as an activist. I know a better world is available as we all start to improve, and that's why I kind of got into the studies of life, being a life coach and public speaker. This is my calling. I'm confident of it. And what I hope to do is bring some unification. I would love to bring the ideals of being a disciple of Christ. I'd love to bring those ideals into the positions of authority in our government and our corporations. If we had more honest and authentic people who lived in service of the world around them, holy cows, world will change just like that.
Hey, Jack. Thank you guys for having me. I'm off. Shout out to Lisa, Carroll White Loyd, iPhi, Jack, everybody listening. Thank you guys for having me.
Later.
I'd like to leave on my own accord, right? Much love, everybody.
Thank you, Cage. Blessings to you, brother.
He learned patience today. It's a virtue.
Cage has allowed me to grow in my patience, and because I know he's got such a good heart. He cares. And he's got a confidence about himself that I presume he wants to share. That's why I think he comes across the way that he does. But it's Cage, well, I don't want to put him out. Many of us, what we do is sometimes we try too hard, especially with people who we like. And when we try too hard, then we do things to try and impress, or we make mistakes. The best way is to not try too hard. It's just to relax, to know why you're there, who you are, and just relax with whatever comes through.
Yep. Reflective thoughts are better than emotional ones, so I agree.
Reflective thoughts are better than the emotional ones. But I tell you what, those emotions, they will bring you reflective thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty of that. Yesterday, I felt emotions yesterday, and I was certainly reflecting last night.
And about an hour ago, I walked into an emotional bomb room. So that, like I said, sometimes you step in the wrong spot and you're like, my bad, I'll just leave then, because there's nothing to be said here. So bye.
You know what? Can I say
Yeah.
something?
Go ahead.
So I was listening, and thank you so much, Jack. When you were saying that people are in service, that's the biggest mistake of all. People are in service, but nobody is of service. There are two different things. Being in service, anybody can be in service, but are you of service? What are you doing? What is your purpose of serving? What are you looking to prosper in it? Are you looking for prosperity for you, or are you looking for prosperity of people? Because if you're looking for yourself, then you're in service, you're not of service. Then another thing, when people try hard to please other people because they have not yet learned how to please themselves. See, it's hard to please other people when you don't even know what pleases you. So that's what the difficult part comes in at. If we could better serve ourselves, it's so much simpler to be in a room of thousands of people and be comfortable with you, because you already made you comfortable. So nobody makes you uncomfortable because of your character and integrity that you built within yourself and that you're comfortable with. That's all I needed to say.
Beautiful. Well said, Lisa. Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Becoming comfortable with ourselves, that was my life lesson. I spent so many years in my life where I wasn't comfortable in my skin. I was overweight. I was just not good enough, not handsome enough, not wealthy enough. And so I lived trying in service, right? But I wasn't of service. And there is a distinction, right? And that's shown through our true intentions. And I was serving out of a neediness. I was so broken. So that's where I got caught up. I ignored my problems and I got caught up in the problems of others. And that's where I thought I fit in, but it was misery, dude. What Lisa said is so true. Self-love is so important.
Sometimes we all need a little foot washing and to do a little foot washing.
Yeah. Amen. Welcome, TV.
Hey, Toilet Bowl. How's it going, buddy?
Yo, what's going on?
Another beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day, Mr. Talcott.
It is. Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of tack on to what Lisa was saying. Yeah, I think a lot of people tie their identity into wrong things, and they almost live their day to day defending those things which only really serve them, kind of disregard others, which is a detriment to themselves, because I mean, people around you are, I mean, they exist. You're not, I mean, there's no abject permanence here. When you turn around, these people are still there, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I think that it is important to be self-serving to others, and at least in my paradigm, I think that's something that everybody can agree with to some degree. But what I was really trying to get into is like, we tend to like falsely attribute what our identity is. A lot of times it's to our position or status or class, and especially in this society, like this class of economical Darwinianism, where we're pitted against each other. Our identities, we're sort of pitted against each other unnecessarily, and this is just how the system is set up, and we're sort of in it, and people are aware of it now.
I think it's time. It is time for a change of the systems, and I am so I don't know here what it comes down to now. My faith in God, I trust, I know it is God that moves and reveals all things. And I believe that we have the tools and the opportunity right now, here today, with the technology, through the people who have been formed at this time in this generation. And I'm not talking to old people like me. There's younger people, older people. We've got the wisdom, the technology. We have the opportunity right here and now in this lifetime to totally transform this world. It's just a matter of, do we find the willingness? Are we willing to work with our enemies? Are we willing to come together and overcome our disagreements and our differences? Are we willing to change from the old ways in order for greater to be realized?
You know what, Jack? Thank you for saying that, because that is a big issue with people, right? Because you can't graft new ideas on a closed mind.
Beautiful.
And a lot of people are stuck in a time and place where we no longer live, right?
Yes.
And then they say, it used to be like this. But okay, can you take what used to be and what is now and find a combination to make it work, not just for you, but for everybody, not just for you? See, when the mind is closed, there's no new ideas that can be introduced to it. So if you if you won't allow yourself to be introduced to anything new, then you're stuck in a place and time where eventually you begin to build hatred, despair, just all these negative emotions and thoughts within, because then you say, everybody's against me. No, everybody's not against you. It's just that everybody else has chosen to open their mind to new ideas so that everyone can prosper mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Those three major things will drive a person for goodness or for evil. Either or, ain't no in between. It's either or. Like a lot of people say, my trauma holds me down. Your trauma wasn't your trauma in your past. Your trauma only has power when you go back and give it power. How does your trauma have power now? And you survived it and you lived it, so you outbeat your trauma. Your trauma is traumatized, not you. You should have gained power. There's knowledge and wisdom in trauma, but people so closed-minded, they don't see that yet.
This is what I realized. And I don't fault, because that trauma, while it is in the past, that trauma is real today until it's overcome, until that healing is found. And what you're talking about, this is what I realized. I've mentioned him before through the work of Gabor Mate and others regarding trauma. It shows pretty clearly we have a society that has not, whether it's been intentionally or unintentionally, the majority of people and even therapists have not properly understood the mind. And so we have people, good-hearted people, enabling trauma in themselves and each other, because either they haven't found the answer, they don't know how to heal or where the answer is, or they're not willing to accept it. And people go a long time in this world not accepting the truth. Why? Well, it's big enough we can create echo chambers, and we just surround ourselves with people who enable our excuses, enable our blame, our self-sabotage.
I agree with both of you there, especially what Lisa was saying, that there is some deep stuff that's involved in trauma. I can personally speak about grief and what grief does to a person. I lost somebody that was really important to me when I was young, and going through that process of grief, what I sort of came to a realization that it wasn't so much about the person anymore. It was more about what the grief was doing to me. So I sort of like self-centered the pain to be about me and not about the memory of the person that I lost.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that was quite a sort of milestone going through that process. So there is a lot to learn from that, and there is a lot of victimhood that can perpetuate if you don't check it. That it can go on and it can bleed out into your interpersonal relationships and how you treat others. You won't know it, but those sort of factors, they can be subconscious and in your actions. Who knows how it comes out? You'll never know how, that the sort of negative effects of, trauma and grief comes out. So
Thank you. Thank you. Because that's the trauma that I experienced when my mother died. Those were some emotions I never felt in my life. I had a nervous breakdown, and I remember being in the psych ward, and I remember my husband saying to me, "If you just get better, I promise I'll be the best husband there is." But he was the best husband, so he couldn't be any more than what he was. I just didn't want to live. But then when my husband died in 2016, that was when I had to realize that I couldn't go back to that same place of trauma that I endured and experienced when my mother died, because I was going back there, and I realized this time I was going by myself. So then I had to make a decision. Do I want to live and suffer, or do I want to walk through this pain, and that I could get better? I remember sitting down with my psychiatrist and talking with her, and I talked myself into a process that could help heal me. I had to tell myself that I can get out if I choose to. I'm only stuck because I want to. I had to realize I didn't move off of that couch because I didn't want to. I could tell myself that I could move and I could go outside. So I began to do things. I began to tell myself the opposite of what I've always told myself. And I found out that I believed that when my husband died, that all of me had left. But what happened was that I gave more of me to my husband and never got a chance to find out who I really was because somebody was loving me with everything in me. So through prayer and meditation, was it easy? No, it wasn't. Is it doable? Yes, it is. Did I cry a lot? Yes, I did. But that was the pain of the past, that I had to relieve myself of all of that. Then here comes COVID. Then I was left with me. There was nobody with me but me and God. This is what Jack was talking about. I had to learn how not only to pray, but I had to learn how to meditate. I had to learn how to quiet my mind. And I did that through prayer. And one day my mind got silent and I heard God. And it was like I knew then that I was okay and I was going to be okay from that day forward. And that was in 2016. So see, I did not give trauma the power to kill me, because it can and it will. Because if it cannot kill you, it will settle for your suffering. And I was suffering. I was suffering, right? Alive. So it's the power that I choose not to give anything that causes me pain. I feel the pain. I heal. I feel. I deal. And then I heal, right? Because one thing about death, that's something that I have to endure. And what I said to myself, I want to set an example for somebody how to go through grief and still be able to live. Because grief, listen, pain is inevitable, right? We all gonna experience pain, but misery is an option.
Mm-hmm.
Misery is an option. Pain, I cannot stop. I don't know when that's going to happen, when it's going to come in my life. You don't know when it's going to come in your life. It's going to happen. But misery, I don't have to choose that.
Well, this is what you're describing. These are lessons I've learned for myself as well regarding the pain and trauma that we can carry. And most importantly, though, I learned the freedom. I learned the freedom of putting them down, putting the trauma down, bringing the healing and the love to myself. That's what I want to share. And that's why, this is why, I mean, I experienced this. I experienced a healing and overcoming the trauma and overcoming addiction and all this darkness that I know so well. I've been able to overcome it. And I know that by God's grace, I hope to share it with others. Because, Lisa, I think we're learning these lessons for that, so that we can help others. We can't take away the pain, but we can help others realize the misery, and the depths of the misery can be mitigated. The time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, hey, welcome, Machine Lies. Welcome, Cecil.
What's going on?
Having some beautiful conversations. Lisa was just sharing her testimony of growth and her path. Yeah, lots of positive encouragement, Lisa. I'm not sure if you see the chat, but
no, I didn't. I didn't.
You're being very well received, and you are appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate you all as well.
The idea, the topic, friends and enemies, and something Cage keeps coming back to applies to this. Look at the man or the woman in the mirror. You know, are you a friend or an enemy to that being, to that soul? Are you a friend or an enemy to their joy, to their experience, to their development? When I took a hard look, and actually someone asked this question earlier, I think it was on Paul's panel, but about radical accountability. That's what I did. I found it within myself. I was fed up of being sick and tired, and I was sick and tired of being fed up, and I was ready for a change. And so I went through my life, looked at the man in the mirror, the bank account, everything, and said, all right, here's where you're at. You're not happy. You're not healthy. You're not really moving forward on goals. So what are you doing? I chose to change. And brothers and sisters, when I chose to change, it was scary as hell. Frightened, I think it frightened a lot of the people around me, but that just gave me more time and opportunity to focus on my growth. But choosing to change my life was the best thing I ever did, and I encourage anyone. Please go ahead. Thoughts, anyone?
Yeah, changes. Wow, it's amazing, you know, and change doesn't start with the things around me. Change starts within me, right? First of all, I got to think differently, right? I have to change my thought process. So, how do I do that? I stop doing the things that I used to do and do something different. And doing something different that you're not used to doing, it's uncomfortable. But if you continue to do it, it becomes comfortable. Your thought process changes. Then you begin to be able to treat you good. You begin to like you, right? And
Yeah.
as you begin to like you say, hey, Lisa, I'm going to do something good for you today. You want to go to the movies? Yeah. Well, come on, let's go to the movies. You know, you take you out, you treat you, and then you come back home and you ask you, did you enjoy the movies with you? Yes. So now you're feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
So then you make another plan, another day, or another time to do something else for you. Then before you know it, you loving on you. And then it makes it so much easier for you to love someone else. It makes it easier to find forgiveness of others because a lot of people don't know that forgiveness is not for the person. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the person. It is
Right.
for you. So I want to feel good about myself. I want to be able to sleep good at night. If I caused any harm, I want to correct it before I go to sleep because I don't want to go to sleep and wake up and don't wake up and I died with resentment and hatred in my heart. And I've worked so hard not to die and not be able to see Christ again. You know, so there's a lot of factors that play into loving Lisa, right?
I
Lot.
love I love it, my friend. That
Thank you.
self-love is so important. And I love what you said. You know, you do find some, it's easiest to love ourselves when we see ourselves accomplishing things we want, right? So set small goals, real easily achievable goals, but goals you know you need to get done. Get them done, and then congratulate yourself when you do some things, when you bring in some fulfillment. Sometimes some kids aren't raised with a lot of encouragement. They're just raised with a lot of correction, you know,
Mhm.
and that does a number on self-esteem, right? That's where I was at. But training yourself to become your best friend, you know, the cheerleader, the one who's willing to take you out and show you a good time because you did a good job. I love that idea. Take yourself to a movie and then recognize how good you are to yourself. And then the next day build on those memories.
Yes.
Jack, can I share
Please
some of
do.
my goals?
Please.
Okay, so one of my goals is to build some income from some internet based income somehow on the side, because I'm kind of a minimalist. I don't really have that many bills, but it would be nice if I could just you know, set something up over on the side so it can just work by itself and make some money. It doesn't have to be a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about changing the theme of my YouTube channel from video games to exploring abandoned Oregon ghost towns.
Dude, that could be fun. That could be cool.
And actually, I'll be honest with you, bro. I'm scared to death. Okay, I'm actually at one right now. Let me see if you can see this. I'm called Milliken, right? So can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Let me bring you up, please. All right.
What are you afraid of, Cecil?
I'm scared to get out of the car right now. Actually, I'm actually scared to get out of the car because I don't know if there's gonna be like stray dogs that are living somewhere. Supposedly, the last resident of Milliken owned this gas station, and he was murdered by his employee, and that was the last resident of Milliken. He was probably a dick to work for, so his employee like shot him or something. And it was at this gas station right here. So
you are a trip, dude.
Well, look, just Google abandoned towns, Oregon State. There's probably like 25 of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably going to be some more soon. I heard the politics going so well over there.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be abandoning a town in Oregon soon myself, to be honest with you. But
I hear California land is real cheap. You might be able to get some good deals over there.
I don't know where you heard that from, but if I were you, I would go back to them and tell them that they are wrong, because California, there is no place in California. California probably has the highest real estate value in the country other than New York.
Yeah, but 20% of zero is still zero.
Hey,
there's no one living there.
Anyway, thank you. It sounds like a great adventure, Cecil.
I'll watch it, dude. If you find some ghosts and stuff, jealous.
Be interesting. Although
there's some old mining towns and whatnot. Anyway, my cash tag is right underneath my name. If anybody wants to hit me with some gas money or something, I'm gonna see if I can't drive over here. Hopefully, nobody shoots me or something. Trespassing.
All right.
Remember, keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah.
Those who want the fun.
I'm on the road right now, but there's a car parked over there. Okay. I guess somebody does live here, but they probably don't want to talk to me.
Yeah. All right. Hey, actually, I don't mean to cut the suspense as we're nearing the destination, but I think I'm ready to wrap up in a couple hours.
I think there was a lot to be learned today, so that was good.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about all your suffering and stuff, and I'm glad to hear that you were able to get through it. So that's a very positive, motivational speech. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Just a quick thing before we wrap up. I just wanted to ask Lisa something. So you said you after your loss you sought therapy.
Yeah, I had to see a psychiatrist.
So yeah, me as well. I was young, but I grew to that. It took me a while to get to, maybe I need some help with this thing. For me, I don't know if you can relate to it. So me, I was, the grief started making it like into this total, no one can understand me, no one can understand my pain thing. And that was like the biggest thing that kept me from going to therapy was, how can this person understand where I'm coming from? And yet, did you experience that sort of same thing?
I did too, and she didn't let me stay there. Right? Yeah. I was trying to stay there, and I found myself walking into learning ways to get through instead of ways of backing up, going back further and further.
Yeah.
And I got coping skills and all of that. And believe it or not, some years ago, when I would go sit down and talk to her, she would just listen to me, and when I would say certain things, she would say, Miss Lloyd, can I write this down and use it with my other patients? I said, sure. And then she said to me, you know what? If all my patients were like you, I would be out of a job and it would be okay. And we laughed about it. And she's actually my friend now. And I have her personal cell and we talk periodically. But yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget, she was a lovely therapist. She was this lovely lady from Ghana. And, she had to move back to her, her family's home back there. But yeah, I'll never forget her. She was wonderful and definitely changed my life. So, there's a lot of bad stigmatism about therapy and whatnot, but it always helps to have an outside perspective on things that you can't see yourself when you're in the middle of the madness, So
yes,
I
because
definitely,
they're not emotionally attached to you.
right, exactly. And
Yeah.
she was asking tough questions to me too. She wasn't cupcaking me either, And that was something that I wasn't getting with my family. I wasn't getting that with my friends, I wasn't, getting that for myself. So it was definitely something that.
You know why? Because they try to please us. We don't need to be pleased.
Right. Exactly.
They want to please us. We don't want to hurt them. We don't want to hurt no more. They're going through this. No, we need to get through this. Yeah.
Well, it's great talking to you, Miss Lisa. I'm gonna head out of here. Goodbye, Jack. Thank you. See you guys.
Thank you, guys. I love you all. Thank you so much.
And Lisa, you have certainly been a joy and a delight. I do this pretty regularly. I don't know when you noticed or how you came across, but I do this pretty much every day, and you would be welcome to invite it back.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank all of you guys. I saw some of your comments pop up, and thank you guys. You are just so wonderful, and thank you so much for the kind words and inspiration. You guys are awesome. Hey, you awesome. You winners, you.
Well, hey, bring your friends as well. Share with your friends. I mean, my hope, just so you know, from this point of today, where we are, who we are, and what we've learned, my hope is that from this point today, we are going to see a world transform, right? In ways that, man, only God could imagine.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Good way.
Comprehension, right? We'd be like, wow, how we get here?
Yep. That's what I want to see. So welcome, and I hope you return.
Thank you. I inbox you. I message you, Jack.
Okay.
And go to your message. You'll see where I saw you. But go to your message, okay?
Blessings. I will. I'll check it out later.
I love you all, and thank you so much for having me, guys.
Much love. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Oops. I'll toss you the back, and we're going to continue now. Thank you. Machine Lies, welcome back, brother. You've been here, patient, and I don't know if you've even gotten a chance to say a word. Welcome.
I'm having a little issue with my internet connection at the moment. In terms of the camera, nobody is visible on the screen. So if any of you have been visible on the screen, including you and Cecil, I can't see anybody. So I don't know if I'm coming in clear. Can anybody hear me?
Your audio is good, and you got the avatar. It's good.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for confirming that. But since we're wrapping up, I see the topic here, friends and enemies. I'll just give closing thoughts here,
Please.
And, I think in terms of, friends and enemies, it's important to pay attention to people's intentions and the content of their words instead of their expressions and their motives, because style is often confused with, intent. Don't mistake style for intent. Beauty and truth are not exactly the same. You know, the word is not the thing. You know, we have to remember the word is not the thing. So you know, in chapter 81 of the Tao Te Ching, you know, I usually read something good for you guys, you know, and it says, truthful words are not beautiful. Beautiful words are not truthful. Good people do not argue. Those who argue are not good. Those who know are not learned. The learned do not know. You know, I'd like to explain that a little bit. You know,
Please.
I think knowledge is a possession. You know, knowledge is desire. You know, so he's saying, you know, the learned do not know. You know, so I think that's what he means by that. But anyways, he goes on to say the wise never try to hold on to things, and that goes back to what I just said. The knowledge is not a possession. You know, the more you do for others, the more you have. He says, you know, the more you give to others, the greater your abundance. I'd like to explain that one. You know, it's about sacrifice, not always taking credit, you know, to engage all things while doing nothing, working without effort. You know, efficiency and simplicity are linked. You know, complexity contributes to waste. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, he goes on to say, you know, and I'll read that one again. He says, the more you give to others, the greater your abundance. It's true. You know, frugality is grace without waste, people. You know what I'm saying? Bless you guys. You know, then he says, the Tao of heaven is sharp, but does no harm. The Tao of the wise is to work without effort. Thank you for joining us, guys. Bless you guys, man.
Thank you. Sincerely. Those are words of wisdom, and those words of wisdom, go ahead.
Yeah, just you know, like what he says in the beginning, truthful words are not beautiful. Beautiful words are not true. And paying attention to people's, you know, not always trying to attach, you know, looking at the style and the motive, but looking at, you know, the true content of what the intentions are. But yeah, bless you guys. It helps us divide who's friend and who's enemy. Bless you guys.
Yeah. It is interesting to know. It is hard to know. I was considering this thought earlier. I've got a lot of people who call me their friends, but I failed to meet their standards, so they left my life. So they're actually not my friends. And then I've got enemies who actually oppose my success and, you know, have really kind of bet against my success, encouraging others to hope for my failure. And yet those people are still around. So the friends who are absent are not necessarily friends. The enemy who is present, is it actually an enemy? Or is it just a confused friend? Because the idea of being able to work with an enemy to overcome the opposition and the nemesis relationship through communication and cooperation, if you can find a common goal, working with the enemy to overcome greater objectives. And I think, you know, for the love of God, there's a lot of people have chosen to engage with me in adversarial roles, and I appreciate the way they've helped me refine and improve myself, but I know that peace is the way, and I know there's bigger enemies than a man like me.
Well, if I could just chime into that, brother.
Please.
Yeah, I think it's important to realize that you know, in terms of you know, the true kind of you know, resistance that we get, you know, in terms of you know, friends and enemies, you know, we seek a sort of complacency among people, you know, and that sort of drowns us. But it's important to meet challenges, you know, see people as they are, you know, and not see how they present themselves on the surface, you know. So you know, there is some truth to the line, hate the sin and not the sinner. Although I disagree that these two things are wholly separate, because, you know, Saint Augustine and those types of thinkers, they were kind of Platonists, so they were able to separate the idea of sin from the person who sins. And that's the thing, is that we're battling against evils, and those evils come from a higher spiritual order. They don't actually come from the people. The people are just the residue. The people who commit these things are the residue, and if you fight them, you're simply dealing with the symptoms of the problem and not the disease.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do my final words, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sincerely, brothers and sisters, all who joined the panel today, all who joined the chat, all who may tune in at a later date, greetings, blessings, and my sincere appreciation. The idea of finding friends or enemies, it does come down to intentions. What is their motivation? And there was an interesting distinction TML offered between style and intent. Those two can be confused. Someone may have the right intentions, but their style and their execution of trying to do what they intend, it can be sloppy and it can cause damage. That's been many times with me. And then you've got the others where it's not the method. Their intention is clearly to cause harm, to slander, to whatever. So there is a difference, and it's important to know who is responsible for what. But the idea too of separating the sinner from the sin, well, there's a truth to that. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. It is not a man or a woman who is our enemy. What it is the belief structures. It's the power, the ideas and the emotions that overtake the being and cloud their good judgment. Every one of us has these blinders on, and our emotional trauma, our past wounding, our veils of ignorance or confusion or deception, the limits on our mind, we can distort the information that comes through. And it's not always intentional, but this is the world we live in, brothers and sisters. The world profits from confusion. It profits from division, from disagreements, from chaos. So for the life of me, I do look forward to, while I have hopes of growing here online, and sincerely, brothers and sisters, all of you tuning in today and in the future, hearing these words, you're a part. You get to play a part, and thank you for this role you're playing. But by your efforts, ideas, and actions, you can help me grow, help me succeed, and it is my hope. I don't want to grow just here on YouTube, but I want to raise awareness of the ideas, right? This live without fear. I'd like the world to understand that a little better, what it means to be faith-filled, to be filled with gratitude, grateful, faithful, joyful, what it means to be filled with the life and the love of God, because that's really what life's about, sincerely. Again, while I used to be real involved hours and hours, day to day on these panels and all the drama and interrelationship stuff, I've been backing away. And I do seek inspiration. I've been learning. I've been studying these other people, men and women of the past, all these saints, totally devoted themselves, not to anyone, not to anything, but to the truth, wanting to know God, seeking answers through prayer, meditation, sacrifice, devotion. So that's not my life yet. Although I don't want to be boastful. I have few regrets, and I am relatively proud of the choices I've made in my past. I am proud of what God has allowed me to experience and accomplish. I have immense hope and faith of what God may allow us to experience together in the future. Because the future I see, brothers and sisters, will not be ruled by these wealthy elites or this cabal of corruption or whatever nonsense name we want to put to the people in power. I see a future where humanity honors and respects that which is true. Because I tell you what, that which is true is that which is real. That which is real is God. Trust in God. Trust in the truth. Come to terms with that which is real and find gratitude for that. Till next time, I believe tomorrow may be Talcott Tuesday, should the day evolve as I imagine. So thank you again, brothers and sisters. Please tune in again. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all. Thank you.